Hi everyone, and welcome to episode number 107 of the Karen Knits podcast. My name is Karen, and I'm coming to you from South Central Pennsylvania, where I live, where I work, where I knit and crochet, and get into all kinds of other crafting shenanigans. I'm so happy to have you here with me today. It is Saturday, April 16th, 2022, and it was a nice day out. The clouds are coming in. It's getting dark looking out that we might have a storm coming in later today. Who knows? I don't have to go anywhere, so that's fine by me. So if you're a new viewer, thank you so much for coming by and having a visit and see what you think. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back for another week to see what I've been up to and see what kind of shenanigans I've been up to. I'm so happy to have you here with me again. So, it's been a busy week. I may or may not be a little bit out of control. I finished one project and I started 3. Oops. And Sock Madness is on a minor hiatus for a couple days. So there's not even socks here. No socks to show you. And I have 3 new projects on the needles. Oh well. What can we do? I lasted with one project or 1 or 2 projects for a long time. So this was due. But 2 of them will finish probably pretty quickly. 1 of them, it won't be quick. So my finished object, my little itty bitty flax light, is done. So this is Flax Light by Tin Can Knits, and I love this pattern. I made the size 6 to 12 month or 6 month to 1 year old. So the second smallest size in there. I used yarn that I dyed myself. It was one of the first, probably one of my earliest skeins of yarn I dyed for myself for fun. And I dyed it using Kool-Aid. And I think there's 2 different shades of red and an orange. I have no idea what colors now. I didn't write it down. Didn't keep any notes. I have no idea. But it's all done. So I am going to be giving this to a friend of mine who has a little 5-6-month-year-old little girl. And I'm going to get in touch with her Monday or Tuesday this week coming up. I'll probably shoot her an email and see if there's some time this upcoming week I can pop over to her house. It's not very far out of my way to go there, and it's quick and easy to get there. And it's probably a lot easier for me to go to her place than for her to have to pack up her baby and come meet me someplace. Just drinking some Kool-Aid in my butterfly cup. I love this cup. Oh, good grief, I'm tangential today. Fair warning. So I'm going to see if I can get a hold of her on Monday or Tuesday, and I'm hoping I can drop it off Wednesday afternoon. We shall see. I have no idea what her schedule is like and when she's home or things like that. So I'm hoping to get that to her on Wednesday. And I'll probably also check with her if she's interested in anything else hand knit, because I enjoy it. It was so much fun to make this. And if it's something she likes and she wants for her little girl, I'd love to make more stuff for her. I don't have any other little ones close in my life that I can knit for, so it'll be a pleasure to knit for her if she's interested. So we'll see. So Sock Madness, the second round finished on Tuesday morning, just a couple hours before the deadline was. And we waited for a couple days to hear any news about what was coming next. And they announced that what they were doing is, with the holiday coming up, or the holiday this weekend, with Passover and Easter this weekend, they decided to put a hold on the pattern and put a hold on just put a pause on the competition for a few days, and the specs and the pattern for round 3 will be released sometime after Easter Sunday is done. So we will not be seeing the next clue before Monday morning. So once I found out that we were on a hiatus for a couple days, I decided to start a couple more projects. I had first started, I thought I wanted to make myself another sweater. And I think I had talked a little bit about some of these things last week. Let me just get this without upsetting my apple cart here. I have several skeins of this stuff, oodles of skeins of this stuff. It is loops and threads, wool-like, and it's a fine or a light fingering weight. The 100-gram ball has 678 yards in it, so there's a lot of yarn in a skein. And when I found this stuff on sale a while back, it's been a few years, probably 4 years ago. It's easily been 4 years ago. I keep having to remember I need to add 2 years because of COVID. Anything I think was just a couple years ago, it's a couple years plus 2. Anyway, so I found a really good sale on this stuff a while back, and the only catch was you had to buy, they came in little packets of 3, so you had to buy 3 purple and 3 whatever colors. So I bought multiple colors, and I think like 7, 8 or 9 packets of different colors, and I'm ready to start making something with some of it. I honestly don't know how this is going to knit up into a sweater and what it's going to be like. It is, I'm looking for it's 85% acrylic, 15% nylon. So it has 0 natural fiber content in it. So I'm not sure if this is something that's going to be incredibly non-breathable or wonky to wear. I figured for the cost of these, I'm going to knit myself a summer sweater out of this. So I spent some time looking through Ravelry to find out a pattern that was a short to mid-length sleeve sweater that I had enough yarn to make for my size. And it came down to quite a few of them, and I opted for making the Empress top. And this is a pattern, I'm all tangled up. Hey. How did I do this? So this is a pattern by Sari Nordlund, and it calls for a light fingering weight yarn, and I cast on and got a start with it. So the bottom, I'm on the first repeat. I've done the initial part of the lace, and then from there it will go on into 2 repeats of like a floral lace, kind of leafy floral lace design, and then the rest of the sweater is plain stockinette. It's just like a regular crew neck type neckline. And it can be made, the pattern is written for either short sleeves or long sleeves. I suspect when I'm working on this I will be doing some modifications to it. So here's what I have so far. I think it's pretty. I like it. I'll be very curious to see what it looks like as it knits up some more. I've not spent a lot of time on this, but a decent amount. I think I have maybe 14 or 15 rounds done, and it's over 300 stitches all the way around, because Nice weather, motorcycles galore out there today. I need one of the larger sizes. I forget which size I opted for. And I think it's over 300 stitches for the cast on. So it's a lot of stitches to go all the way around. So the pattern has you do the first 14 stitches of the chart, and then either row 14 or 15 to the top of the chart. You repeat that part twice. So you do row 1 through whatever once, then you do row 14 or 15 through the top a second time. I might do that 3 times. Do the 1 through whatever 30 or 40 some rounds once, and then do 2 more repeats so that it lengthens the sweater. Or what I might do is just do the chart as described in the pattern, and then do the stockingette portion longer. As the pattern is written, it's not really a cropped sweater, but it hits the top of the hip, and that's not a flattering place for a sweater to end on my body. So I will want it longer, and the lace portion ends either right below the bust or covers the very bottom part of the bust, and I don't like that look on myself. So I do want to lengthen the top enough so that the switch from stockingette to the lace portion will drop lower, so that it's someplace between the bottom of my bust and my natural waist is where I'm aiming to have the stockingette portion sit or begin. So as I progress with the sweater, I will find out how that's going. I will see what 2 repeats of the chart, what that gives me lengthwise, and see how it looks before I decide whether I do a 3rd repeat or if I just lengthen the stockingette portion. Stay tuned, we'll find out. Second modification I plan to make is the pattern has either short sleeves, which only come to about here, or long sleeves that come to the wrist. I want to make it so that the sleeves come to just the elbow. They will stop just before my elbow. I like that length of a sleeve. Not quite a 3/4, but I like the long sleeve to come down and cover my big arm. So that's the second mod I will be doing on it. And the third one, I'm not 100% sure. I'm still contemplating this, but the third modification I'm thinking of doing is in the lace, there are baubles. And I'm not a huge fan of baubles. I don't particularly enjoy making them. And I'm not as excited about the look of them. But what I'm thinking of doing is I have some nice size 6, I believe, iridescent purple seed beads. And I'm thinking I'm going to substitute and put a bead in each of the spots where the baubles should be. I will decide that in the next several rounds. The first round that has baubles in it is coming up in the next less than 10 rounds till I have to make a decision on that. So I really am leaning towards adding beads instead of baubles. So I think I will prefer the look of that. We shall see. So this will be a fairly longish term project. It's a lot of stitches, and I'm using 3.5mm needles, or US 4. And again, the loops and threads will like yarn for this. Again, it's a acrylic nylon blend, so it's not a natural fiber. It's an acrylic plastic yarn, but I'm on a bit of a quest to use up my existing yarn. I have way too much, and it's time to start using the yarn that I have. The second and third project that I have begun are 2 crochet projects. And I had mentioned, I think I mentioned last week, that a friend of mine, a young lady I used to work with at my previous job, had given me some yarn that belonged to her mom, who had passed away, and my friend doesn't knit or crochet, so she knew I did and thought I could use the yarn. So what I wanted to do was to use that yarn to make something to give back to her. So the yarn, there were 3 different types of yarn. There was 1 skein and a little bit of an acrylic wool blend, worsted weight. There were 4 skeins of 100% wool variegated yarn, and then there were 9 skeins of a solid bulky or chunky weight yarn. And I originally hoped I could combine them all together to make something, and I tried a few things and it wasn't working. I wasn't happy with it. I wasn't feeling the love for it. So what I opted to do was do 2 granny stripes blankets. That's a free pattern on Ravelry and online from Lucy of Attic 24. And I had made the granny stripe blanket before using fingering weight yarn and all my leftover sock yarns, and I really enjoyed working that pattern. It's nice, it's mindless, it's perfect for sitting and watching TV, and I just happily crochet away, and for me it works up very quickly. So one of them I'm using, the yarn she gave me was this. It's Plymouth yarn, Galway Chunky, and this is the one I have 9 skeins of. It is 100% pure wool, 123 yards per 100 grams. So I don't have a lot of this. So what I plan on doing with this one, and what I have done so far, is I've already used up 3 skeins. So again, crochet goes very quickly for me, and this is what I have so far. Ends are not woven in, but this is what I have so far with 3 skeins of yarn, and I've made it quite long. So what I'm thinking of doing is, I have a couple more skeins of yarn in tubs in the other room that I'm going to go digging through to see. I know I have a few other chunky yarns, and some of them, one of them is a cream color or an off-white color. One of them, I think there's 1 or 2 skeins that are kind of a denim blue. I'm not sure if the blue will go with this well or not. But I want to combine this purple with something else. And one of my options is to do 3 skeins. This is one of my thoughts, was to do 3 skeins like this, and then do roughly the equivalent number of rows in a white or a bear yarn. I have several skeins of worsted weight bear wool of the Andes. It was left over from my row cardigan by Wong. What's her first name? Michelle Wong. And I have several skeins of that left. So I'm thinking maybe I can just hold 2 of those together and do several rows in the white, and then do 3 more skeins of purple, then more white, then 3 more skeins of purple. and that'll probably make it big enough for a small blanket to use on the couch while watching TV, the snuggle under, just as a little extra something on the bed. It probably will be enough to do it that way if I mix it with the purple, then white, white, and purple. I think that'll work. So that's my rough plan for that one right now. The other one, I am also doing a granny stripe, and that's in this is a worsted weight. So this is Lion Brand wool. Yeah, Lion Brand wool. So this is perfect for felting. It's a worsted weight. 100 grams is 143 yards. So I only have 4 skeins of this. So, and I'm already almost finished the second skein. So I'm doing the same pattern using the variegated and white. And I'm just doing kind of random stripy design. So I've done a few rows of the variegated, then I've done some white, a little bit more variegated, a bit of white. I'm doing a larger section of the white now. Then I'll do a little bit more, which will finish off the second skein of the variegated. This one is quite a bit smaller, relatively speaking. And what I'm planning on doing with this one is, again, using some of the bare wool of the Andes I have from Knit Picks, that again left over from my row cardigan, is to continue using that, the white with the variegated. And I think this looks really cute. I like this one. So the plan is to continue adding to those. Those are ones that I work on in the evening while I'm watching TV. The purple sweater is one that, the acrylic sweater is one that I work on when I have more brain space to concentrate on the lace pattern part. I haven't tried working on that one much in front of the TV yet. So those are the 3 whips I have right now. Now, come Monday or Tuesday or whenever the next Sock Madness pattern drops, these will all be tossed to the wayside, and I won't be working on them while the next round of Sock Madness comes out. So we shall see how the timing works for that. But the Afghans should work up pretty quickly. As you can see how much I've done in just a week. And I just started them. I think I started the variegated one on Wednesday and the purple on Thursday. So I've only been working on them for a few days, but I can easily do. So for example, last night while watching a movie, I added all of this portion. I started the second skein, did this and this portion. So I've added this much. Like I almost doubled the size of this blanket while watching a movie last night with a hubby. So it does go quick. For me, crochet goes quickly, especially something like that, where it's what I find to be a very straightforward, simple pattern. It goes quickly. So I'm hoping to have those done quite soon. The reason I opted for doing 2 different blankets is because there's my friend, and she has a young daughter who's, she might be getting closer to 10 by now. Yeah, time flies. She's probably closer to 10 years old now. So I was thinking if I made the 2 of them, then they would each have their own blanket to snuggle under while they're watching TV. And with the orange, or the other skein in a little bit, I'm planning on making I'm just going to use that up and just do a crochet type square with that. And it'll be something that they can let their cats use as a little snuggle blanket. That's just assuming they still have the cats. They did 5 years ago, they had cats. 2 or 3 kittens. So I'm assuming they still have cats, and I'll use the other one. It's an orange yarn, and that just didn't fit in with these yarns as nicely, and it's a different fiber content, so I didn't really want to mix them that way. So I'm thinking I'll do that with the other yarn that she gave me, and then that way I can use it all up and I can give everything back to her as a finished project, and just throw in some of my own, the white yarn to go with it. So those are my works in progress. So for someone who for a while now has been limiting their number of whips, I finished 1 and started 3. I'm okay with that math. The other thing I've done this week is, in preparation for the next round of Sock Madness, I got out the dye pot and dyed 3 semi-solid skeins of yarn. And 2 of the upcoming patterns call for 100 grams of a solid or a semi-solid. That's the optimal to use. So I've done this one, which is kind of a bright sunshiny yellow. I like this color. I really like this color. And it's a little bit tonal. There's some areas that are a little bit lighter, some that are a little bit brighter, but it's mostly semi-solid. Then the second one is this greenish color. I think it's a little bit more green in real life than it's showing on the camera. It's probably clashing wonderfully with with the bright pink shirt, but this is a nice tonal. It's got a little hints of yellow and green in it, but again, another nice tonal yarn that I can use for upcoming socks. And then the third one is kind of a grayish blue, and this one came out, I have no idea how this one came out really cool. It's got these little splashes of blue in the yarn, and I don't quite know why it, I had all the dye in the water and mixed in, and I just got all the yarn in there, but some of the blues really struck quickly and on some parts of the yarn. And let me just unfurl it. But you can see some of where there's just a few spots where there's these splashes and chunks of blue. And I probably could never replicate this, but I really like the way it turned out. I was going for a light bluish gray is what my aim was, but got this stuff instead. I like it. I think it turned out really, really interesting, but it's not quite what I expected or what I was planning on. So, what you gonna do? I will skein that in a bit. It's humid here. Now it's just come out in a big floppy. It's humid in this room, and the yarn was sticking to my hands when I was trying to get it done up into a nice hank. So what else is coming up this week? We're getting closer to the end of the semester. We had one of our candidates for the job where I'm on the search committee for, one of the candidates was in on Thursday? Yeah, on Thursday afternoon, and that went well. The second one is coming in this Friday coming up at the end of this week. The third candidate coming in the following Friday. And those will be basically most of the day interview process, teaching demonstrations and things like that. So I've got those coming up, and the semester is winding down. There's only 2 weeks of classes left, and then final exams, and then we're set and ready for graduation. And then I'm able to turn my focus to the research part of my job. My job involves both teaching and writing, like academic writing, but during the semesters when classes are in session, there's a lot less time for doing the research and focus on, instead I tend to focus on the teaching part. So summertime I do tend to spend a good part of my time working on my research. So that's what's coming up for the next while. We're busy this weekend, tomorrow morning at church with all the Easter things going on, sunrise service, then a breakfast at the church afterwards, and then we roll into Sunday school and then a regular service. It's going to be a long morning tomorrow. I think a nap might be in order tomorrow when I get home. But later this afternoon I need to make, or I don't need to, I'm going to make a coffee cake to take for the breakfast is the potluck kind of thing. So I figured most people are probably going to bring some kind of hash brown casserole. So I thought I'm going to go for something completely different. And so I thought I'll make a coffee cake and take that. So everything's out on the counter and ready to make in a little bit. So I think once I get the editing done here, I'll get going on that cake and get that cooked up. But otherwise, that's about it. I'm excited to see what pattern comes out next for Sock Madness. But in the meantime, I'll continue working on these 2 crochet blankets for my friend and the sweater for myself. And I'll let you know next week if I got my Flaxlight sweater, if I got that delivered. Yeah, I'll let you know. I'll let you know if I got that to its new owner. So otherwise, I don't think I know much else. I should get going, get the editing done on here, and by the time I'm done that, the hubby will be home. It'll be time to get going on supper. Just doing leftovers. We had spaghetti and meat sauce last night for supper, so there was some leftovers, so we're just going to reheat that with some salad and maybe make some garlic bread or make a couple slices of garlic toast with some melted cheese on it. That sounds good. Alrighty, so I'm going to let you go. Take care, everyone, and I will see you guys again in a week. Bye!